listening to Elevations Radio, your station for uplifting lifestyle and wellness talk radio.
Views expressed on shows are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its management, or other advertisers. Use of these shows and all services provided therein are for personal use only. The Elevations Radio Network holds no responsibility for the validity or accuracy of information on these shows.
Stefan Clark. Hey fam, welcome to the Let's Be Real show with Greg Bam Reaves here on elevationsradio.com. The best music you'll ever hear anywhere. Well, you can only hear it here. Anyway, I'm your host, Greg Bam Reaves. This week I'm riding solo dolo as my co-host, beautiful Benita, is ill. So send prayers and shout outs to her. But I'm excited today to have a guest. Man, I've been knowing a few years, author Tito M. Bradley. Right. And this is the author of We Got Issues, Bait and Switch, and Reciprocation. Yes, sir. And also joining us is his lovely wife, Maggie. Hey, Maggie.
Hey.
Like your nail color.
Thank you.
So, welcome to the Let's Be Real show. How's everything going?
Everything is great.
I said, off air, I'm going to say on air, congratulations on your new position. Yes, we can't talk about it because of the field you work in, but congratulations, my brother. Thank you. We had a slight delay. We got some okay, I can't say that because I said I wasn't going to say anything negative anymore, but there's a communications company out here that is supportive of a Fox News show that got a system a little messed up here, but we're going to get past that and get on with this show. So okay, wait a minute. First of all, I want to ask you, why did you start writing?
Well, actually, my first book, We Got Issues, conversation about black love and relationship, it came from a roundtable discussion. My cousin and I were playing cards and we were talking about relationships, and everybody was blaming everybody else.
Yeah.
It's the blame.
Yeah.
It's her fault.
Yeah.
It's his fault. It's their fault. Men are this, women are this. So I'm listening, and I'm like, everybody's blaming, but there's no answers, and nobody was listening. Everybody was just giving rebuttals or trying to defend their position.
Right.
And so I said, I'm going to write a book about it right there at the table. And they said, what? I said, I'm going to write a book about it.
So wait a minute, you actually started it like right then and there?
Right then. I said, I need to write a book because what I know is when you're communicating, everybody's talking, no one's listening.
Yeah.
But when you're reading, it's a one-way communication. Actually, it's two-way, but you can't argue with what you're reading.
Book.
Right. But I think that that was the beginning. That was the beginning, and what I did was I wrote a bunch of questions down, and I asked different people in different situations the same question. I asked married people, divorced people, people who've been married for a long time, people who had never been married, the same set of questions to see what type of answers I would get.
Okay.
And that's what the book is.
It actually talks about that at the very beginning, the introduction about how you came about writing that book. But I was curious because, as a matter of fact, to let everybody know, this is like my writers section. Last week I had an author on. I got an author on this week, and we're going to do this for about a month. And but I always want to know what made you write. And your answer is a little different. Most people are like, they got this itch that they just had to get their feelings out and all that. You were actually just trying to answer some questions.
I'm trying to answer some and trying to get some answers.
Yeah.
Trying to get some answers, answer some questions, and give individuals a platform to think.
Right.
We always want a platform to talk.
Right.
The individuals that talk got the questions. I asked them the questions. How were you prepared to be married?
Right,
ask a bunch of different people the same questions. Right. So, but when you're arguing in a card game,
right,
you can't even get that question in.
Were you able to get answers out of because the reason I ask is because a card game is heated anyway.
Right.
There's already battles going on.
Right.
So I'm wondering, like, was it harder to like extract some truth in that setting?
That didn't come then. That was where I said I'm going to write a book.
Oh, okay.
So after that, I wrote down questions, and then I went from that point asking different individuals, not at the table.
Right. Okay.
That's just where the start. That's where everything started.
Okay.
That's where the conversation started at, and the roundtable discussion started at. And I wanted my first book to be a roundtable book, like you can get it and the wine and cheese. I say it at the end of the book.
Right.
Sit around and ask at the end of each chapter their questions.
Yeah.
For you to ask. Now you have a platform to speak from. You know what I'm saying? Because I gave you answers that I received from different people. Now, what do you think? So you're not at this heated point where you have to defend yourself or defend your sex or defend how you were raised versus, you know what I mean? So that gave a open platform for individuals
That's cool.
to think and listen
and
be heard.
Phone lines are open at 440-252-0518. That's 440-252-0518. Call in, join the conversation. So you were learning as you were teaching, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Because I can see, like, there's a lot of book clubs out there. But this is different. You present a book like this where there's discussion.
Correct.
After each chapter. Like, this is most book clubs I know, like online, there's plenty of male, female book clubs. I don't know that many. I'm sure there are. I don't know of that many out here in the real world where there's men and women together. Most of them I know of that I've been asked to join is like all women. Right. I don't even know if guys have a book club.
Well, you know what's I would have to say, like,
I'm sure
99.9% of my readers are women.
Yeah.
And the book clubs that I've been a part of and I've joined, and as far as being an author and been invited to, were predominantly women. Right. And so, unfortunately, a lot of us don't read or even communicate in that way. But, we're here now.
Well, I got to say this, though. When I was, how do I say this? When I was staying at a state-run hospitality suite for a few years, I learned that a lot more men read than I thought. I mean, even out here, they don't talk about books.
Right.
Like if you're on a bus, you might see a woman reading a book. Rarely do you see a guy. I got a caller on the air. Caller, go ahead.
Hello, this is Marlon.
Martin.
What's up, my brother?
What's happening, yo?
How you doing there, Bam?
I'm good, and you?
What's going on? I can't complain if I try, baby. How you doing there, Tito and Mackin?
I'm well.
Hey, Marlon.
All is well.
I'm sorry. I was too informal. How you doing, author Tito and Bradley?
Oh, I'm great. I'm great, Marlon. Martin.
Right.
I seen that capo work.
Yeah, I did too.
With that stick, boy.
I had a question for you as far as your the new book that you have. Do you have a name for it yet?
My new book that I'm working on now?
Yes.
Yes, it's called Blue Euphoria. Actually, I have a poster that Maggie got it. This is actually.
Can you repeat that?
It's called Blue Euphoria. It is a writing novel. I'm going in a totally different direction.
Gotcha.
The actual book cover, she's holding it over my head now.
For those of you
on
Facebook, you can go to the Elevations radio page.
That's it.
And you can see us live, or go on my page. You can see us live, and you can see the cover of the new book.
The book cover is done, but I'm still writing the book. But the book cover hangs in my man cave. This is
right. Okay.
So once it's ready to go, I'm thinking what I'm trying to do is release it Sweetest Day.
Okay.
So this is going to be like 50 Shades of Grey times 10.
Okay.
Like,
so in your last book, you made Cleveland references. Are you planning on doing the same thing in this one?
Yes, I will. Reciprocation was the previous book, and the one before that was Bait and Switch. They were both based in Cleveland, and also Blue Euphoria will also be based in Cleveland. From now on, all of my books will be based in Cleveland. So I'm doing it for the home team. So when the reason I've done that is when I read a lot of books, they're based in New York or Philly or LA,
yeah.
and I can't relate because I don't know the streets. The lingo is different, and the food they eat is different. So some of the stories were good, but they weren't relatable to me.
Mm-hmm.
So when I wrote Bait and Switch and Reciprocation, I immersed them in Cleveland,
Right.
so that our people here would say, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we know where the Polish boys are.
Right.
You go anywhere else in the world, they don't even know what you're talking about.
I don't know what it is.
They have no idea what it is. Or 93 FM or 107.9 or whatever, Dead Man's Curve.
Oh, we can't
you can't say
mention
that?
them.
I'm
No,
sorry,
we can't
I'm
mention my competitors.
Okay. Well, different radio stations.
Not on my show. We can't
I'm
mention
sorry. Well,
no.
when you read the book and you hear certain things, you can relate to them immediately, and it
Right.
makes the story real, even though they're all fictional stories.
Right.
But they're real, and I also put actual entrepreneurs in the book.
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
got Rhonda Crowder, who's a
Yeah.
writer now.
Mhm.
She's in the book. B&M, he's in the book.
Okay.
Philly's in the book.
You
Mike-
got M&K Media.
Hey.
What are y'all called, Marlon?
Hey, I can weave anybody in. I can weave anybody in. Oh, I can weave you.
So, I was wondering if you were going to have names in there, because I wanted to make sure that if you have any erotic pieces that relate to anything that have to do with my life, you would change my name to protect the innocent.
Nah, we give out real names. All names got an A. If it's real, Mike Berry's in Reciprocation. We give out the real name. So when people say, "Oh yeah, okay, I
Right.
read about you," so if you want to be in there, it's going to be Marlon. ... Marlon. Marlon Martin.
That's right.
Ooh.
Well, thank you for calling in, my brother. You got anything else for us?
Nah, man, I'm actually just about to make moves around Cleveland, man. So I just wanted to, stop in and show love to all three of y'all.
Oh, we sure appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
And make sure you let Tito know where you're going so he can put it in the book.
I'm about to head over to Naturally Gifted Fitness Center for Phil Weaves the last day.
Okay, they're not a sponsor, so you can't mention them on my show.
Oh, my bad. I'm about to finish washing these dishes.
Right.
Washing these dishes and drop my daughter off at
the spot.
At a friend's house.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of hating on the entrepreneurs, and I'm sorry. I apologize. No, thanks, my brother.
You said you weren't going to say nothing negative.
No, that's right, and I'm not. I love my Cleveland people. All right, now.
All right, bros. Y'all take it easy. Much love.
All right,
Okay, you too.
Bye, Marlon.
Okay, so he cracks me up. And you know what? I got to say this about Marlon. Dude, I don't know if any of you watched Heights Girls, where he plays a thug. It's like it's a TV series for YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube miniseries.
Marlon played the mess out of that role. I was shocked.
Really?
I mean, I was actually nervous. Like, man, he might shoot me. and anybody that know him in real life know he's like the nicest, funniest guy in the world.
Yeah.
But he played the mess out of that role. I like, he was scared of Nino Brown. I'm telling you. Yeah, he's good.
Now I got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, I'm telling
I gotta go
you.
back
He
and watch
played the mess out of that role for real. So anyway, okay, first book, We Got Issues, which I love that title because we got issues.
A conversation about black love and relationships.
Right. So now let's move on to the second book, Bait and Switch. First, let me ask you this. Now that one came out of, how do you say, curiosity. What birthed Bait and Switch?
The birth of Bait and Switch comes from an author by the name of Deneen Hale.
Okay.
She's from Cleveland. She was in my 10th grade English class. So Rhonda Crowder, she's the link in all this.
Okay.
She set me up on a dual book signing with this new author.
Okay.
At the Crooked River in the Galleria. It was a bookstore in the Galleria. She said, yeah, I got you a book signing with such, you got to share a table with this author. Her name is Deneen Hale.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know Deneen Hale. The person I went to school with name was Deneen Knowles. But she's married.
Okay.
Right, so I'm like, okay, Deneen Hale. So I didn't know. So I get down there, and it's Deneen.
Knowles,
I said,
the one you know. Okay.
Right. So she wrote a book called Possessions. And this book was phenomenal.
Really?
And it was based in East Cleveland where you know what I mean? It was about a guy who he wouldn't let his girl go.
Okay.
He just wouldn't let her go. You know what I mean? So we exchanged books, you know what I mean? And I read her book in like 2 days.
Oh,
I was like, oh.
That was a good book then.
Yeah, I couldn't let it, like, it possessed me.
Right.
And so I had just, I was still promoting this, and I was like, I'm going to do an urban book, like, you know what I mean? But of course, it couldn't be nothing like that. But I wanted to do something. It, like, motivate, like, We Got Issues was a thing I wanted to do, but now I got the bug.
Right, yeah.
That's
that one was a project. This one was a bug.
Yeah, this was a bug. Yeah. Like, I got to do it.
Right.
Like, I got to do something like that because it had me. I'm like, I want to have people like this.
Right, yeah.
And it was something totally different. Like, when I did We Got Issues, a lot of people, I went to beauty salons. I was everywhere, sir. Bus stops, anywhere you stop and talk to me, you was buying this book.
Right. Okay.
So it was a different type of hustle. So when people would see me, they would think this automatically. We're going to write another one about what your next We Got Issues going to be about. And I don't want to do that again.
Yeah.
And I did that. So after reading Possessions, I was possessed.
Right. Okay.
So I said, okay, I want to make an urban fiction book, but it got to be something that I've never seen, heard, or read before.
Okay.
And that's it.
So now, before this, did you always have like stories in your head, or
Well,
I'm
a creative monster.
Okay.
And, I dabbled in rap music and all that, writing.
So you
and all
told
that
stories then?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We did, but it was nothing structured, like, you know what I mean, like this.
Yeah.
Well, not really. Like, quick story. In the ninth grade, my teacher, Ruth Abernathy, was my English teacher. She made us write a newspaper, a whole newspaper.
Okay.
In the ninth grade, and I just like hated it. You know what I mean? I was like, so I was in honors English, right?
Yeah.
So if you had her at Shaw High, East Cleveland, that's right.
Right.
So if you had Ms. Abernathy in the ninth grade, you would have her again in the 12th grade. That's how it was set up. You had to have her again.
That was Miss Cooper at Kennedy.
Yeah, so when I got
Same
to the 12th grade, I went to my guidance counselor. I said, I don't want her. Because I knew what was coming. You know what I mean? Because she was serious about her English.
Yeah.
So I got out of her class.
Okay.
That's what happened after I released We Got Issues. I ran right into Ms. Abernathy. I said, you ain't going to believe this. So I told her, of course, she didn't know I ducked out on her. You know what I mean? She said, what? I said, yeah, I ain't want to deal with you again. Because you made me write a newspaper.
Yeah.
A whole newspaper. Like, we got a big paper and I had to write a whole newspaper. I mean, we wrote everything. Classified ads, news ads. We had to...
Weather sports.
All that. By hand. Wasn't no type. By hand.
Now, see, I probably would have liked that in my English class.
Right.
That would have been fun. I could have been creative.
But it sparked something. You know what I mean? Introduction, body conclusion, outlines, all that. I remember it. So it's been there. And I still use what I got in 1986 when I did this.
That's cool.
Right.
Okay, caller, you on air?
Yo, what's up? This is Jay Floyd, man.
I'm sorry, you cut off for a minute. Dave who?
I said, this is Jay Floyd, man. How y'all doing?
Jay Floyd. What's up, bro?
What's going on, Bam? What's going on, Tito, Mackie? How y'all living?
All right. How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm excellent, man. Just watching y'all, man, peeping y'all out, laughing at Marlon. You know, the usual.
Right. That's what's up.
Hey, so I just got a question, man. First of all, congratulations on all your success, man, in writing.
Thank you, sir.
I love seeing you, flood that market, make it new. One of the biggest problems that I have with fiction world is that so many people are copycats, and I like the fact that you always come from a new angle. You know what I mean? You always have a unique perspective. So my question is, how do you find a way to make it fresh? In urban lit, which is a difficult market to succeed in, how do you find a way to make it fresh, man?
The way I do it is doing something totally different. If you look at these books, none of them are the same.
Right, yeah.
Even the book I'm working on now, it's the only thread you're going to get is Cleveland. The backdrop. Yeah. But, like, Bait and Switch is full of hustling. It's profanity, it's sex, and everything is weaved into a nice story.
Right.
There's none of that in reciprocation.
Okay.
So you're not, and one thing I noticed, like, when I was reading urban fiction books, they're repetitive. Yeah. And I'm not trying to knock anybody because that's not how I move. Because obviously there's an audience. But when you get a book from Tito and Bradley, you're going to know it's going to be something different, but it's going to be good. You know what I mean? It's going to hold your attention. It's going to be captivating. It's going to be detailed. but it will not be like the last thing you wrote. There will not be a same character. There will not be a continuous storyline. There are no part twos. I don't write a book and cut it up into 3 parts to try to sell more.
Right.
So my thought process is, and to really answer your question, I'm long-winded. I don't like part twos in movies or anything.
Yeah.
Because if I know the storyline, it's not holding my interest. I want to see something new every time.
And I hate to say this, but The Coldest Winter Ever is one of my favorite books ever. I hated Midnight.
Well, I mean...
Yeah.
I hated it.
Right.
Sorry.
But when you continue a story... when you have a continuous story, it doesn't hold your attention. You have, a whole different story with the same flair. Got them.
There you go.
That's how I do it. I try to bring something totally new, different story from a different angle, and that keeps me in it. Keep me interested.
There you go.
That's dope, man. That's dope. And I know you had touched on it a little bit earlier. I just wanted you to go more in depth with it, because I think that's one of the best things about your writing.
Thank you,
is that, even in that genre, it's always unique and it's always fresh. So, anybody who hasn't read Tito stuff, I think that's the biggest thing for me. That's what I like.
That's what's up.
All right, man. So I'm gonna hop off. I ain't gonna get long-winded, man, but I always keep up with you, man. And it's dope to see you keep doing it and see you succeeding, man. I love it, man.
I appreciate your support.
Thank you so much for the call.
No doubt, man. All right, y'all.
All right.
I got another caller. Caller, you on air? Hello?
Yes, I'm calling actually from Michigan. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yes. First off, hello, Miss Maggie and Author Tito.
Hello.
And Sir Greg. Of course.
Thank you.
My question is, when you said bait and switch, I'm thinking bait and switch. What is he talking about? So you actually, just with that title, I need to know where I can get that book, because I really want to read it now. Because bait and switch could be anything.
That's not the full title, though. It says under here, nothing is what it seems.
Bait and switch, you can go on Amazon right now and type in Tito M. Bradley, and it will pop up. Right
okay,
now.
I'm actually going to get that. It just the bait and switch part just got me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm thinking all kind of things.
I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal story, and it'll have you in all your emotions. When I say all of them, and that was the whole point of the book, is to take you on a journey through all your emotions, every last one, every one you could think of. That one, and we're gonna go back to the other one too, and we're gonna touch on all of them again.
And being from Michigan, even though that's not Cleveland, still the Midwest, so you could probably still relate to a lot of.
Without a doubt.
You might not know the name of the streets and all that, but still.
Okay. So it's going to actually take me through a journey in Cleveland.
You're going all through the streets of Cleveland. All through the streets of Cleveland. It's some of it. It's a love story. It's bank robbery, gunplay, get back. It's everything. It's a twist in the end. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. And when you finish reading,
so is it?
Go ahead.
But is it going to make me not want to come to Cleveland?
No, you won't be afraid to come to Cleveland. No, you won't be afraid to come to Cleveland. Remember now, this is a fictional story. This is a figment of my imagination. The backdrop is real.
Right.
So this is just a figment of my imagination. It's not based on anything that actually really happened.
But your imagination just happens to be on these certain streets or this side of town.
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah, and that's what makes it real, especially from people from Cleveland, because they can see the streets. They know they actually exist.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So when I say such and such did XYZ in the parking lot of the Mirage, people in Cleveland, eyes light up, because it was a hot nightclub in the early 90s, so they know where the Mirage is. You know what I mean? So that makes it real. That makes it real.
So actually, you did Cleveland a favor, because if people read, they would read your book, it would make them want to come to Cleveland just to go to some of these places that you are talking about.
Without a doubt. A
lot of businesses around this country have have grown because of that, because they were mentioned in a book or a song or a movie.
Right.
And everybody that comes to that town wants to go there and see, where's Roscoe's?
Right, and we never heard of it.
Right, no.
So somebody out there is saying, what's a Polish boy?
Yeah, exactly.
What does that mean?
Right.
Columbus is saying that.
Would change your life. Would change your life. You hear me?
Well, thank you so much, and I will
calling
definitely be ordering that book tonight.
All right, thank you.
And
You guys have a great night.
You'll be coming to Cleveland, too.
Send me a Facebook request. Send me a Facebook request.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I do the same thing. I mentioned different spots in Cleveland because I do want to elevate Cleveland in my writing, and also want to make it more entertaining to the people in Cleveland that can relate. And I mentioned, like, I'm basically, well, I'm not basically, I am a Harvard guy, born and raised on Harvard, but I mentioned, like, a lot of different areas because nobody stays in the area they were born and raised in.
Right.
I mean, we all went to Vales. All of us. We all went to Mirage.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All these places that were made famous, everybody from every side of town went there.
Right. It was the hot spot.
So
at the time.
You gotta kind of like show love for other areas. I get on Shaw people all the time because Shaw is so large.
Yep.
And like we battle sometimes on this radio station because I'm a Kennedy guy, and Shaw and Kennedy back when I was going to school were
Shaw was at it with everybody.
Yeah. Well,
with everybody.
Because we got a big discussion about Shaw's reunions, which are the bomb.
The biggest.
They are the bomb.
Everybody.
But my argument to this Shaw alumni that was on there was, I said that's the only school in East Cleveland, so everybody in East Cleveland went there. So when they have a reunion, everybody in East Cleveland go.
Everybody who's ever went to Shaw.
And then we go.
Yeah, everybody.
Kennedy and Adams and
Collingwood. Everybody want to come because they know it's going to be.
And I've never ever heard of any drama happening at those events.
It's never. It's all. Well, here's one thing. Everybody in East Cleveland is just one step away from being related.
Yeah. The
cousins. You got a baby by my sister cousin, next door neighbor, somebody. Everybody is intertwined, connected, and we.
Yeah, because I got a lot of family in East Cleveland. My great
cousin.
Right. My great grandparents, their home was on the corner of 117th and Superior. So my uncle's family and all them, they all migrated to East Cleveland. So it's a bunch of Reaves. Well, I don't know what their last names are now, but there was a bunch of Reaves spread out in East Cleveland. So you're right, though. Yeah,
it's major. Everybody's related or some kind of entwined, or you've been knowing them since elementary school.
Yeah. So that reunion is so cool.
Right.
It's just, why would you want to mess that up?
No.
So anyway, we got to take a quick break, but we're going to come back with Arthur Tito M. Bradley and his lovely wife, Maggie, who's not really talking too much, but, you see her pretty face over there. We'll be back after some really great music.
I'm Carol Johnson from Burlington, North Carolina, and I listen to Let's Be Real with Greg Van Reeves Thursdays from 6 to 7 p.m. on Elevations Radio.
All you have to do is take this moment, create in me a new life within. Never have to second guess this feeling. Take your time and let him in. People just wanna be happy, but they don't know how to break through. They don't know how to break through. They can't help the way they feel, but I know the truth. And it starts with you. Way down inside. Way down inside. Way down. Way down. Way down. Way down deep inside. Way down inside. Hey. Way down inside. Way down inside. real thing growing inside of me. It's the dream manifesting, incubating blessings. No more stressing, no more stressing. People just wanna be happy, but they don't know how to break through. They don't know how to break through. They can't help the way they feel. I know the truth, and it starts with you. Hey, yeah. Way down inside, way down inside, deep down in your soul. Way down, way down. You gotta let it go. Way down inside, way down inside, way down, way down inside, way down, way down. Look yourself in the mirror. Way down inside, way down inside, way down inside, way down, way down. You can do it if you try. Way down inside, way down. You can do it if you like. Way down. Don't stop, stop breathing. Don't stop living. Don't lose all your oil. Don't lose all your oil. All the way. Keep on going all the way. Don't stop breathing. Don't stop living for you. Don't you worry. Just keep on going all the way. Keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. Don't you lose yourself, 'cause I believe in you. I said I believe in you. You gotta keep on, keep on, keep on, keep on. You gotta love you. You gotta love yourself. So much more, so much more. So much, so much.
And we are back to Let's Be Real with Greg Bam Reeves with author Tito M. Bradley. Now, before we go any further, I mentioned to you, I gave you a little tease, saying that we were going to talk about how black men can lower their high blood pressure. Now, let me clarify something. There was an article I read. I learned two things from this. The heading said something to the effect of black men can lower their high blood pressure by going to the barbershop. The first thing I learned was don't just read the headlines and run with it. You need to read the article. Because my first thought was, I can see that. Brothers getting together, they can relax, talk, because in the barbershop we talk about anything and everything, and little boys in there, but they cool, they protected. You know what I'm saying? I can see my blood pressure lowering. That is not what the article was about. First thing I learned. The second thing I learned was that, well, let me get into what this article is talking about. It was a study done, and it was published in, let me get this right, the New England Journal of Medicine. The study was done by a Dr. Ronald Victor. It was paid for by the National Institutes of Health. And what it did was they learned that a lot of black men, because we got like 40% of black men have high blood pressure. And one of the problems is we don't trust doctors. That's why we don't go. It's not that we're trying to be tough. We don't trust them. It's like my father always said, man, they just want your money. They want your money and they want to put you on these medications, so pharmaceutical companies get your money and you're still sick. That's how a lot of black men think, right or wrong. But because we're so comfortable in barbershops, this doctor decided to send actual doctors and pharmacists to the barbershops to talk to the men there. And they talked to the barbershop owners first. to get their approval and their assistance, and talk to their customers like, hey, let them talk to you and let's give this a try this medication and see what happens. Well, over 67% of these men, blood pressure dropped dramatically to a healthy range. And it wasn't anything, but some of them actually, I'll take that back, some of them actually, they were told to go see a pharmacist or doctor, and they actually did it. Some of them just had a pharmacist doctor on site, and that was the only way to get them to actually see about their blood pressure. So this article wasn't about
the conversation.
It wasn't about anything about like the conversation. Now the atmosphere did have a lot to do with it, because we are more open in barbershops. It's our other man cave outside of the house.
Right.
Like if you got a man cave at your house, right.
It's just safe zone.
And even though now more and more you see more and more single women bringing their young boys in there, it is getting to the point a lot of them will just drop their son off because they know he's good. Right. Barbershop has always been
safe haven.
Yeah.
Safe haven.
I just thought about something that I'm not going to talk about.
Most of the time.
Yeah, for the most part. There's always exceptions to the rule, but everybody knows barbershop. Even if you watch the movies, even though it's comedy, a lot of it is based on truth. That, barbershop is cool. So it was good to hear that these men, and now he's going to try to go even further, try to study with cholesterol. So we're basically going to be able to go get a haircut, buy some bean pies, some
get a DVD,
some body oils, and get your blood pressure checked. Yeah, and buy some books for sure. And buy some books. So we're gonna get back to author Tito Bradley, and we talked about we got issues.
Right.
We talked a little bit, not really. We mentioned bait and switch. I want to hear more about what is bait and switch about. Don't tell them too much. Make them go buy it, but give us a little bit about bait and switch.
Bait and switch is about a hustler in Cleveland named DeAndre. He's had enough, and it's time for him to exit out the street life. So by chance he meets an old convict, right? And this old convict shows him the ropes. His baby mama, Letitia, the mother of his children, she loves him, but she won't deal with him long as he's in the streets. So before he makes his exit out of the game and leave the life, he have to handle some unfinished business.
I'm laughing because there's always unfinished business.
So this is a story, of course it's fictional.
Right.
It's not based on anything or anyone. I made it up as I was going along. But it's a captivating story, crime story, suspense, drama, revenge, gunplay, get back. And interwoven is a love story with a twist in the end that you'll never see coming.
Right, okay.
You'll never see it coming.
Now, I asked my guest last week, we were talking about structure of writing books. And I asked her, did she know the ending when she started it? And I'm asking you the same thing. And the reason I asked is because I have to, because I learned the first time I tried to write a book, I wrote myself into a corner I couldn't get out of, and I had to do something I didn't want to do. So after that, I started structuring it differently.
For this book, the ending came first.
Okay.
I knew exactly how I wanted to end. I had the twist, so I had to write into the twist, which was more of a challenge. And it was more, I guess, entertaining to me to get to that point.
Right.
And then to still tell a story and to still keep everything captivating and be descriptive and in a way, intertwine Cleveland into it to get to the ending that I already knew that was going to be. But that worked for this book.
That's funny because I've heard
reciprocation.
Some other great writers that do the same thing. They got the ending.
Right.
Before anything else.
Yeah, and you got to go. Didn't work for reciprocation at all.
Really?
Not at all.
Okay, so let's get to reciprocation. What exactly is that about?
Reciprocation is about a serial killer in Cleveland that cannot be profiled. He has no rhyme, no reason. It just seems very random.
Okay.
Any other slasher movie or whatever scenario you can come up with is not in this book. The guy that didn't get picked for the kickball team and the religious freak and got people in the basement and eating eyeballs. None of that.
Okay.
None of that is here. And it's based around a detective that's retiring and a new detective. Just got on the force, which is a female. And she's high-tech and savvy. You know, the old detective, he old school, pencil and pad. So they have their battle.
Gumshoe.
Right. They have their battle. And
so this is coming from their perspective.
This is
story.
Actually, it's from everybody's perspective. That's what's so different about this.
Okay.
You see it from the detective, Harmon. You see it from Lisa Williams. The suspect, Donald Powers, the guy's on the cover. You know, so, and the ending, which I thought I knew what the ending was, but when I started writing, I thought I knew who the killer was.
Right.
But that wasn't who the killer was.
Yeah.
So I had to do something different.
Fun.
Right. So
that sounds like fun.
If it threw me and I wrote it, it's definitely going to throw. You know, people who've read it call me or inbox it, you crazy.
Yeah.
Like when I was writing it, I would take it to Maggie and say, "What you think about this?" Said, "Oh, that's too much." I'd be like, "Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That's what I'm talking about." You're looking for.
Yeah, I wanted to be too much.
Yeah,
you know, and I did a lot of what I'm doing with Blue Euphoria now. Is I went for the cover. I put covers up on Facebook, and I had the people tell me, "What do you think? How do you want the cover to look? Oh, we want this here. We want that there. More this, more that." And so I say, "Well, is there anything off limits?"
Right.
In a slasher, they was like, "No. Is this too much? Is that too much? Would you be offended by this?" Because I want my fans and the people to buy this book to say, "Yeah, that's what we want."
Right.
So I'm going to give you what you asked for. You know what I'm saying?
Now, have you noticed a change in your following? In your each book is totally different.
Right.
So do you have 3 different groups of followers, or they're just people just riding the journey with you?
I have people who ride the journey, but then I meet new ones along the way.
Right, okay.
Which I've found, like, when I had my first book, we got issues, that's all I had. So that's all I had to present. So then when I had my second book, I had 2. So some people, they didn't want to read about relationships.
Right.
They were in the, you know what I mean? They was in
I don't.
Urban fiction, right.
Okay.
But, so I had an option.
Yeah.
So now, when I have a book signing, I have 3 different options. And some people, they buy all 3. If you go on my page, my author fan page or Instagram, author Tito and Bradley on Instagram, you'll see people holding up all 3 books because they want all 3 of them. But some people, they come to the table and say, "Well, I don't want to read nothing about serial killers. Well, this book is about a hustler. Well, I'll take that."
Right.
You know what I mean? Or, "Oh, this is about relationships." I had some reverends, pastor, "Oh, yeah, I read that." Okay. But they don't want to. And that's an advantage of writing something different versus having all the same thing.
But do you also think that people will just become fans of your style?
Yes.
And they might just read Bait and Switch and say, "You know what, I'm going to give Reciprocation a try because I like his style."
I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
Because it's very unconventional. They like it's like actually reading. Got a book from sold a book to a lady on a cruise ship, Vicky Bills, and she said this is like a screenplay. It's like I'm reading a movie, and I'm like, yeah, that's how I wrote it. So the books are like you're actually, and I'm thinking, ain't that how a book's supposed to be?
Yeah.
Like when you're reading, it's like a movie.
You know what? Technically, it's not. If you take the advice of established writers or editors or whatever, they'll tell you can't speak the way people actually speak when you're writing. You're supposed to. I'm like, I don't agree with that.
Right.
I want people that know me, Greg Bam Reaves. I want them to read my words and say, "That's Bam."
And talking. I get that when people say, "I can hear you actually saying that,"
right?
Because that's how I talk. This is who I am, and my characters speak the way they speak. And which is so crazy when you're thinking for 8 people. Each individuals have their own mannerisms, the way they speak, the way they talk, the way they act, the way they, you know what I mean? So you have to jump into the minds of each individuals, and they have their own. And it's not proper English. It's not, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
They're at different levels in life, you know what I mean? Different spaces. Like in one detective, she's all into technology. So her vocabulary is going to be different than this old school detective who's about to retire. So they're not going to speak the same. So you're not going to read a book and have it the same all the way through. When he speaks, it's going to be one way. When she speaks, it's going to be one way. And then when the suspect, who's an armed robber, suspected of murder, he's going to speak a total different way. So,
and I'm glad you brought that up because one thing I do, each of my characters, I make up a whole background of each character.
Absolutely.
Like from childhood till adulthood to where they are right now. And that has nothing to do with the actual book.
Right.
It's so in my mind, I know who this person is talking.
Right.
Do you do that also?
Absolutely. I don't do a whole background, but each character, when I do my outline, the characters, I have their personality traits, what they do, and what they bring to the story.
Okay.
So this keeps me, so when this person is speaking, I know. And sometimes I got to go, I mean, when you get halfway through a book, what people don't understand is they're reading a book, it's the finished product.
Right.
But this is over 2 or 3 years. I stop, I start, I stop, I start. I'm self-published, so I do it when I get ready.
Right, yeah.
So I don't always remember what this person said or did 4 chapters ago. So I got to go back and read. I got to look at my outline. Okay, how does he talk? How does she, you know what I mean? It's not continuous in my head because I'll put it down.
Right.
So I have to go back to my outline to say, okay, this is a 30-year detective. He's not going to know how to use the iPhone.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's true.
He's going to do things, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not going to know how to do it. He's going to want to do this and he's going to do that and things of that nature. So, yeah, I definitely have to have an outline so I can be consistent through the story with each character. And so you don't get down the line and say, wait a minute, I thought he didn't.
Yeah, he didn't drink coffee.
Right. Yeah, I thought he was allergic.
Right.
Yeah.
Phone lines are open at 440-252-0518. That's 440-252-0518. Now, I thought I heard Maggie over there say, I want to see that. So,
I want to see him in a movie. I told him a long time ago, these need to be movies.
No, that's what I was about to ask. Like, when you're writing, do you envision that, like, there was one point almost everything Terry McMillan wrote became a movie.
Right.
You know, and there are certain people that everything they write becomes movies. What's the guy? This is so crazy.
Alex Cross?
John Grisham.
John Grisham,
I was about to say all the lawyer movies.
Right.
You know, there are some people that, and you can almost tell after a while that they're writing books to become movies. Not just writing books, but the books are so well received and the movies are so successful, they started like writing scripts and calling them books. Do you envision your books being movies?
I do envision like when Maggie, I first told her about Bait and Switch, I wasn't finished writing it. I don't think I was finished writing it.
No, I was giving you ideas to do it too.
Right.
You were like getting it.
So she was like, oh, that could be a movie. In my mind, I just wanted to finish the book. You know, so when I'm writing, my mind state is just completed. You know, all the and be very detailed, which gives people the mind state of, I could see that. Yeah. Which that works because if you can see what I'm saying, then it's a movie in your head. And you know, at some point, I would love for it to become a movie. I had it, you know. Have
you ever tried to write a script?
No.
I have.
No, I haven't.
It's
I haven't. No.
I'm trying to get her on a show. A friend of mine named Joy, she's the mother of Life Jennings' children, and she contacted me, I think that was 2007, had an opportunity to do a TV show about the lives of the women of hip-hop stars, and she asked me to write the pilot. I did, and none ever came of it, but I got the experience of doing that, and I mean, I enjoyed it because I like writing dialogue. Books, you don't need a lot of dialogue. It's more description. Right. Like when Terry McMillan, and this wasn't one of my favorite of her books, but and How Stella Got Her Groove Back, she was talking about being on an airplane and she walked past and she could smell this guy's scent. It was citrus, and I could smell citrus because she described it so well. Right. I'm like, wow. Yeah. I'm actually sitting here smelling the dude cologne. Or body wash, whatever he had on. But I got a caller. I'm sorry. Caller, you on the air?
Hi, Tito. Hi, Maggie.
Hello.
Hi.
Who is this?
This is Tina Smith.
Hey, Tina Smith. How are you?
Hey, fine. I just wanted to know, I probably missed it, but you probably already said it. What inspires you to write the characters and the different scenes that you write, Tito? What inspires you to write it?
Well, now I got the bug. I got the bug after we got issues. I read a book called Possessions About the Need in Hell. She's an author here from Cleveland. And he gave me the bug to write. And once I got bit by the bug, now my active imagination has to be out. I have to let it loose. So once I get an idea of where I want to go, then and I write the characters down, I'm off to the races. You know, and I actually become almost consumed and possessed by them. Like we'll be riding somewhere, and I'll be like, "Yeah, such and such a did blah blah blah." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And these are the characters in my head. Like I can see such and such a doing X, Y, Z, and she's like, "What?
Yeah.
You can't." And we on a cruise ship, and I said, "Yeah, I should kill this dude." She said, "You can't say that." Like, but I'm writing reciprocation. I'm on a cruise ship. I'm writing reciprocation, and it just came to my head. I should kill this dude this way.
Right.
It just popped in my head.
I look at him like,
I should.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Somebody
okay.
like, get on the ground right now.
Right, but you know when it comes, inspiration comes, you just on it. You know what I mean? So now I got the writing bug, especially when you get positive feedback from what you've done. It kind of it's a great motivation. So the fans and friends of support, they're the biggest motivators for me to do it again and again.
Okay. And I would like to ask Miss Maggie, do you plan on writing in the future? Ooh.
I'm decided. I'll let him go ahead and handle it.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that you part of it, because what was the other one? We Got Issues. Was she your inspiration? Was y'all going through a relationship before y'all got married? Was she your inspiration, the things that you were going through with her?
We weren't together.
No?
I didn't even know, man.
Right.
That's
why I said, wait a minute.
That was in 2008, 2009. That was a long time.
It wasn't me.
Right.
No, like I said at the
It
beginning of
was
the
just general
show.
knowledge, just common general knowledge.
That came from a roundtable discussion about relationships. It wasn't about anyone specific or any specific individual. It was about a roundtable discussion I was having with my cousin. We was playing cards, and I said, I'm going to write a book. Because everybody was blaming everybody for their relationship problems. So that's how that came to be.
Okay. Well, I just like to say I'm proud of both of you, and I love both of you.
Well, thank you.
Thanks for your call.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Okay, so we got a few minutes left, and I want you to talk about your latest project real quick. What you got coming up? Any book signings? Any whatever?
Yes, I have, if I'm saying it right, So Kinky, So Curly, So Straight. I hope I said it right. Did I say it right?
So kinky, so curly, so straight.
Right. They're having a hair expo on the 29th at Mitchell's.
29th of this month?
Of April. I'm sorry.
I'm about to say
29th of April. And I will have a vendor's table so you can come and get a autographed copy of all three of these books. They're also available on Amazon.com, but they won't be autographed. So if you're not in Cleveland, you order them, it won't be autographed. But if you come out to Mitchell's on the 29th of April,
there you go.
You can get autographed, you can get your picture taken, you can be on Instagram and YouTube holding the book with the author.
Right.
All that. And also currently working on Blue Euphoria. Let's pull that up one more time. Blue Euphoria is
I'll hold this up.
It is an erotic novel. And it is
That's too high?
Is that too high? Okay. Yeah. It's an erotic novel. And real quick is about a principal. It's about an elementary school.
Oh wow.
A new principal, and she's in. She feeling the new math teacher.
Okay.
But they have a new rule that you can't mess around with nobody on your job. So these two actually are fantasizing about each other, but they don't know that each one is digging the other. So they're going about their day and through the school as teacher and principal trying to remain professional. I had a young lady out of California. She did the last two.
That is real nice.
Yeah. When I seen that,
that's really nice.
That cover, I just added my name and Blue Euphoria to it. That's how it was. For whatever, I kept thinking mahogany.
Right.
That's just what comes to my mind. So
say it again.
Mahogany. That's what came to my mind when I seen the picture, and I said, "Oh, what?" Okay, and it was already. Okay. It was already blue. So I put the definition and whatnot would be in the book. I don't want to give away too much.
Right.
But there's a meaning to blue, the color, and euphoria. So when you put it together and you read it and you say, "Oh, okay." So the whole story is: are they gonna get together? Are they gonna
And you're pushing for Sweetest Day release.
I'm pushing for the Sweetest Day release.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to do. October.
That's what's up. That's great.
Okay. Okay, we got a connect going on.
Yeah. So I'm so glad that you all stopped by today.
I appreciate you for having me.
You got any more like websites, anything you want to give out? Any more contact info?
Author Tito M. Bradley on Facebook and Instagram. I don't do Twitter. I got Twitter. I can't get it.
Me neither.
My mind is all. I mean, it's on there, but 40 characters and all. I can't.
No.
I'm old, like the detective.
Right.
Reciprocation. Facebook and Instagram is about as smooth as I can get. Inbox, text. It ain't on.
I'm
it
just
ain't on there.
on Twitter.
Right. That's for the kids. That and Snapchat is for the kids.
Yeah.
But you can definitely reach me on Instagram at author Tito M. Bradley and Facebook author Tito M. Bradley, and there is a Tito M. Bradley fan page.
Okay.
Where it's specifically only about books, about my books, and I talk about other authors. I got your book of poetry too.
Oh, really?
With your daughter on it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
that's my first.
You forgot about that, huh?
First. Yeah.
Listen,
I told this story before.
One thing I do, and people who know me know, I support everybody in Cleveland.
That's how I got your first book. We exchanged that. I love that about the Cleveland authors, that when we get together, we exchange books. That's like so cool.
And I keep it. I have a whole shelf full of everybody,
me too.
Who's hot. I want to, because when you blow, I want to say, I had it first.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's support. Like, if we don't support each other, and, every now and then I put up, a spread on my Facebook page. These are my friends. Go to their pages. Go to, because it's not about me. It's about us, and they can read my book. They can read yours.
Yeah,
they can read everybody's book. So, I'm out to support everybody, and I'm push my own projects as well. But
of course,
if any of us succeed, we all succeed.
That's right.
So
that's right. That's great. So I gotta, every week I read a poem. Lately, I've been reading a lot of mine, but this week I was watching Love Beats Rhymes. I hadn't really heard anything about it. I kept seeing it, the title and the advertisement, but I decided, I had an off day, I was going to watch it. Jill Scott came in the classroom. She's a professor in the movie. I have no idea who wrote this. I Googled all I could, couldn't find it. It might have been Jill, who knows, but I wanted to share this with you all this week. I don't write poetry. I sweat poetry. I drink poetry. I breathe poetry. I make love to poetry. I fight poetry. I bleed poetry. I once tripped over poetry, got angry and kicked poetry. I live poetry, for I am poetry. I don't write poetry. Poetry writes me. I love that.
Yeah.
I really wish I knew who wrote that so I can give them their full props.
That sounds like a...
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, after that. Yeah, I'm digging that.
But yeah, I love Jill Scott anyway. So is my father. And when she stepped in that classroom and walked down, it reminded me of in The Great Debaters when Denzel Washington walked in the classroom reciting a Langston Hughes poem. But anyway, so once again, thank you all so much. We're going to have to have you back maybe around the time of your release of Blue Euphoria.
You say
I like that title.
Say mahogany again. Say mahogany.
No, I want the. You gotta be like.
Do y'all do that at home? Like, say it again.
Say it again. Say it again.
Blue Euphoria. Right.
It was so much fun having y'all here. This will go up on YouTube. You'll see it as soon as I get home. I'm gonna get it together.
That's for you.
Thank you all so much. And we're going to continue with our author series. Not next week. Next week I got something else. All you got little kids and you're trying to find some place to drop them off in the summer, make sure you check me out. Well, everybody in Cleveland, that is. If you're not in Cleveland, don't drop your kids off here. But no, I got a real special guest for you next week. I hope you tune in. And as always, Develop your hunger for knowledge and feed it. Pick up a book and read it. Set a goal and see it through. And always, always believe in you. Peace and love, fam.
Peace.
About loving on you.